So it is the new year, it's the new decade, I'm back from my break, I'm excited to make videos again, and I've been thinking a lot about what my first video of 2020 will be. Am I gonna do another video on an up-and-coming musician? Maybe another best of the decade list? I wanted to start off positive and exciting, but then my friend reminded me of this dumpster fire of a song, and now I want to make fun of this for a little while. It's not an extremely rare thing for a musician to tackle a touchy subject within a song. We've seen thousands of examples of this over the years. The concept of a protest song is nothing new. They span all sounds and genres. Green Day's American Idiot is anti-war. MIA's Paper Planes is a satirical look at how Americans view refugees. And Marvin Gaye's What's Going On was written after police were attacking protesters of the Vietnam War. There are countless good examples like these, everything from smaller indie rock songs tackling the topic of abuse to one of the biggest bands ever picturing a world that doesn't do anything about nuclear warfare and climate change. But these are good examples. These are intelligent, clever people that know how important these topics are, and they also know how embarrassing it would be to try and make a protest song that just comes off as ignorant and silly. And let me tell you, people certainly notice when you try to make a song about a touchy subject and you fail. So let's get more specific and continue to venture towards the song that we'll be discussing today. When it comes to songs about racism, we have plenty of tracks that belong in the conversation and they have something to say. Kendrick Lamar's All Right is a great recent example, Public Enemy's Fight the Power is obviously a classic, and if I kept naming tracks, you might see a pattern within the musicians that I'm bringing up. Great songs about racism are made by people that, experience racism. So when Macklemore comes up with another song about how bad he feels about racism in the world, I just want to explode. That's not a compelling look at anything. Just stay out of it until you come up with something that's worthy of being in the conversation, and spoiler alert, I strongly doubt that's ever gonna happen. Am I trying to bash any white person that has ever made a song about race relations? Not really, maybe a little bit, but here's what I'm getting at. This is an intense, complex topic, and for this topic, I would rather listen to the artists that have actually lived it. So anyways, with my spiel about hard-hitting topics in music out of the way, I want to tell you about the worst song I've ever heard in my life. And when I say the absolute worst, I'm not really talking about how it sounds, we'll leave that to Corey Feldman, I'm talking about what this song says. With the concept and the lyrics, trust me, I would rather get 10 more installments of Macklemore's White Privilege series than hear these musicians talk about racism ever again. The song Accidental Racist is by Brad Paisley and LL Cool J, and it's from Brad's 2013 album Wheelhouse. And just from seeing who this song is by, and with the assumption that it discusses race relations, you should have a few questions. First off, yes, why did country superstar Brad Paisley ever think people were dying to hear his take on this topic? And next, LL Cool J in 2013 talking about racism? Really? I'm guessing most of you know LL Cool J as that guy in the hats that hosts award shows sometimes, and while I'm sure he has experienced racism in his day, LL's music was never too deep, if we're putting it lightly. Between Mama Said Knock You Out and Big Ol' Butt and everything in between, LL Cool J was never really the guy that talked about this kind of thing, and I'm guessing that's why Brad Paisley contacted him. Because first off, Kendrick or Talib Kweli or Mos Def would probably never even get on a song like this to begin with, and then they wouldn't be willing to conform to Brad Paisley's ideas within this song, but I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm gonna read through the lyrics of Accidental Racist, and we'll discuss as we go along. So after the gentle strumming of an acoustic guitar, and then the solemn riff of an electric guitar, we get Brad's first verse. To the man that waited on me at the Starbucks down on Main, I hope you understand. When I put on that t-shirt, the only thing I meant to say is I'm a Skinnered fan. So even after a few lines, we really have to try and break down what's going on here because it's already a bunch of nonsense. What Mr. Paisley is trying to say is that while the Confederate flag is on his shirt, he is by no means endorsing it, and all he's trying to show by wearing it is that he loves Lynyrd Skynyrd, which is certainly an interesting place to start. Purchasing and then wearing a shirt that features a symbol that half the country thinks is racist is a choice. From a light Google search, there's plenty of Lynyrd Skynyrd merch without the Confederate flag in it, yet Mr. Paisley chose the one that a lot of people think is racist. But remember, he just likes the band. The red flag on my chest somehow is like the elephant in the corner of the South, and I just walked him right in the room, just a proud rebel son with an old can of worms, looking like I got a lot to learn. But from my point of view, first off, those lines just sound bad together. They flow terribly, and when you hear the song, you'll notice how weird the whole thing sounds. But okay, let's try and decipher this one. The red flag on my chest somehow is like the elephant in the corner of the South. That word somehow is a good indication of the cluelessness of this entire song. In this line, Brad Paisley is so confused about how the symbol of the guys that fought for slavery during the Civil War became associated with slavery and racism? Man, Brad, I wonder. That's crazy. I don't know how that happened either. Also, can we talk about how in the first few lines he was saying that the flag on his chest was only there because he likes Freebird and Sweet Home Alabama, but now he's a proud rebel son that's defending the flag. Fascinating. On to the chorus. I'm just a white man coming to you from the Southland, trying to understand what it's like not to be. I'm proud of where I'm from, but not everything we've done. Whew. Alright, so Brad is white and he's from the South. Got it. He's doing his best to try and understand what it's like not being white and from the South, which is debatable, and he's proud of the South, but quote, not everything we've done, which is a funny little way to not talk directly about slavery and segregation and all that stuff. Great. And it ain't like you and me can rewrite history. Our generation didn't start this nation. We're still picking up the pieces, walking on eggshells, fighting over yesterday, and caught between Southern pride and Southern blame. This is where the song goes into next gear of saying, who, me? I'm not racist, what's that? There are no problems, okay, maybe some problems, but not me. Somehow Brad Paisley manages to contradict himself within every couple of lines on this song. First he says, hey, we can't change the past, we aren't our ancestors, which is a good point if your next point is saying, but I'm gonna try to right their wrongs and change for the better. But that's not what Brad says. Instead of trying to right his ancestors' wrongs, he's complaining about having to walk on eggshells and that there's fighting over yesterday, which again is just dismissing hundreds of years of pain and suffering because Brad is sad that he wants to wear a t-shirt with something racist on it. And don't even get me started on Southern pride and Southern blame. Southern blame? How are you playing victim in a song about racism? That is insane. In the second verse, Brad gives us a very unique take on the South after the Civil War. They called it Reconstruction, fixed the buildings, dried some tears. We're still sifting through the rubble after 150 years. I try to put myself in your shoes, and that's a good place to begin, but it ain't like I can walk a mile in someone else's skin. While the entire song is baffling, this is a standout for something that is just confusing. Is he in 2013 complaining about the South losing the Civil War? Is Brad Paisley looking for reparations? I don't get it. So then we get the chorus again with the white man coming from the Southland, the eggshells and Southern blame and whatnot, and then we get the worst rap feature in the history of mankind. And I'm sure you're on the edge of your seat right now because how does anyone, especially a black man, follow all the weird, ignorant stuff that Brad Paisley has said in this song? Welp, let's see. Dear Mr. White Man, I wish you understood what the world is really like when you're living in the hood. Just because my pants are sagging doesn't mean I'm up to no good. You should try to get to know me. I really wish you would. Now, LL Cool J is listed as a writer on this song, but doesn't this just sound like Brad Paisley ghostwriting what he thinks a black person would say in this situation? And hearing LL say, "Dear Mr. White Man," and being completely sincere about it, is just sad. Now my chains are gold, but I'm still misunderstood. I wasn't there when Sherman's march turned the South into firewood. I want you to get paid, but be a slave I never could. Huh? So correct me if I'm wrong, but is LL Cool J apologizing for Major General Sherman's scorched earth tactics in what pretty much led to the Union Army winning the Civil War? That is a question that is so strange and confusing that I don't even know where to begin. And then, I want you to get paid but be a slave I never could? Who does he want to get paid? And he's just flat out saying that he could never be a slave for what reason? Is that still a part of him apologizing? I am so confused. Feel like a newfangled Django, dodging invisible white hoods. So when I see that white cowboy hat, I'm thinking it's not all good. I guess we're both guilty of judging the cover, not the book. More riveting stuff here from LL Cool J. I'd love to buy you a beer, conversate, and clear the air, but I see that red flag and I think you wish I wasn't here. But LL Cool J, that makes sense that you think that the guy wearing the Confederate flag doesn't want you here, because he probably doesn't. And why are you being so inviting, saying that you'd love to buy him a beer? When a second ago Brad Paisley didn't want to walk on eggshells and he feels so wrongly blamed, he's not trying for you, so why are you trying so hard for him? So now the chorus comes in again, but LL Cool J is throwing ad-libs in there every couple of lines, and that's what we'll pay attention to here. If you don't judge my do-rag, I won't judge your red flag, yeah. That is the worst combination of words I've ever heard in a song. A do-rag, for any viewers that may be unfamiliar, is often worn as a fashion statement, but it's also a legitimate hair care product. It's there for a reason, to help people with a certain kind of hair groom their hair. So in these lines, LL Cool J is saying that if the white man doesn't judge his hair care / fashion product, he won't judge their racist symbol? Call me crazy, but that doesn't exactly seem like a fair trade in my mind. But then LL Cool J says this, and I promise that this is a real thing that I'm not making up. If you don't judge my gold chains, I'll forget the iron chains. Can't rewrite history, baby. What? LL Cool J, and let me remind you that through this song he has pretty much volunteered himself as a representative for black people, just said that if white people don't judge his gold chains, his jewelry, he will forget the iron chains. He'll say, hundreds of years of slavery, forget about it. If white people don't say anything racist about him wearing a necklace, he'll let bygones be bygones and forget that that whole slavery thing ever happened. How is this a real song? And then I just love that he ends that part with, can't rewrite history, baby. Just so gleeful, and he doesn't have a care in the world. It's remarkable. And for the last verse, I'm gonna go through it all in one go because it is so confusing and baffling that breaking it up seems like I would be doing them a favor somehow. I want you to see how bad this is. Oh, Dixieland, the relationship between the Mason-Dixon needs some fixin'. I hope you understand what this is all about. Quite frankly, I'm a black Yankee, but I've been thinking about this lately. I'm a son of the New South. The past is the past, you feel me? And I just want to make things right. Let bygones be bygones. Where all that's left is Southern pride. R.I.P. Robert E. Lee, but I've got to thank Abraham Lincoln for freeing me, know what I mean? It's real, it's truth. This is pure insanity. And again, I need to remind you that this is a real song that got released by two popular musicians through a major label. A second ago, I was joking that LL was letting bygones be bygones, and then he literally just said it too. LL Cool J then gives a shout out to Confederate General Robert E. Lee, which is another statement that I never thought I'd say, and thankfully, we are given some mercy and the song ends soon after. You might think that I was making a clickbaity title by saying that it's the worst song ever, but I truly believe what I said. Never before have I heard two people say dumb ignorant thing after dumb ignorant thing for an excruciating 6 minutes in length. Possibly the wildest thing about this song is that after it came out and everybody hated it, LL Cool J and Brad Paisley both defended it completely, because of course they did, I guess. Brad said, "I wouldn't change a thing. This is a record meant to be far from easy listening, but fun, like life. Have a ball, y'all." Which, again, just adds to the madness of all of this, and LL Cool J's response was pretty much the same thing. You guys just don't get it, you're misinterpreting it, blah blah blah. While this hasn't been like my normal videos, and I typically don't get too political on here, I don't think many of you should be too shocked by me saying that racism is bad. I can't wait to see your opinions on this terrible song in the comments, and thanks for watching. Hey, thank you for watching that video, and thank you again everybody for a great 2019. I'm excited to see what the channel does in 2020. If you want to support the channel, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media at RenshawHS. You can buy my merch, support my Patreon, and thank you again. I'll see you soon.